Imagine a country that has survived centuries of war, colonization, and adversity, but has never lost its essence. A place where the courage and resilience of its people define every corner, every smile. Vietnam is much more than a tourist destination. It is a symbol of overcoming, history, and vibrant culture. In just a few minutes, you'll discover how this fascinating country has conquered the world and why, after your visit, you'll wish you had arrived much earlier. Stay with us and dive into the soul of Vietnam. Vietnam is a country that carries centuries of challenges, resistance, and overcoming in its veins. Its history is marked by invasions and wars, but the most impressive thing is how the Vietnamese people have always managed to maintain their identity. From the invasions of China, through French colonization, to the bitter Vietnam War that divided the country, Vietnam has never stopped fighting for its freedom and unity. The war, which lasted more than 20 years, not only divided the country but also affected the entire world, with global powers such as the United States and the Soviet Union directly involved. At the end of this period of conflict, in 1976, the country was finally unified, but the scars and costs of the war, both human and material, are still remembered today. However, what is truly inspiring is the resilience of the Vietnamese. After years of destruction, Vietnam rose from the ashes, and its people continue to show unique courage, keeping their culture, traditions, and above all, their hope alive. What Vietnam has today is a reflection not only of its history but also of its unshakable ability to rise again and thrive. Vietnam is not only a country with a rich history but also a land of breathtaking landscapes. With its extensive coastline washed by the South China Sea, lush mountains in the north, and dense tropical forests, Vietnam's geography is unique and impressive. Its S-shape on the map is not just a visual curiosity, but it also reflects the natural diversity that defines the country. Each region of Vietnam has something special. The north, with its imposing mountains and bays sculpted by nature, the center with coastal cities and ancient temples, and the south, where vibrant cities like Ho Chi Minh and the Mekong Delta connect with the daily life of the people. But what really makes Vietnam captivating is its culture. Life in Vietnam revolves around family, respect for traditions, and a social system deeply influenced by Confucianism. Here, family bonds are so strong that after marriage or graduation, many still prefer to live with their parents, maintaining family unity. This connection to roots and respect for the elderly are values that shape the behavior and daily interactions of the Vietnamese people. On the streets, you see the coexistence of the modern and the traditional. People, while celebrating societal advancements, preserve their traditions, especially in festivals and temples, which attract both locals and tourists. For them, history is not just something from the past, but a living part of their identity that reflects in daily life and the hospitality of the Vietnamese people. In recent years, Vietnam has undergone an impressive transformation, becoming one of the fastest-growing economies in Southeast Asia. Although it was devastated by decades of war and economic isolation, the country has rebounded remarkably, especially since the 1980s when it began a series of economic reforms that opened its doors to the global market. These reforms, known as Doi Moi, allowed Vietnam to integrate into the global economy, developing its infrastructure and creating a more favorable environment for business and investment. Today, Vietnam is an expanding economy, with a strong agricultural base, but also excelling in sectors such as manufacturing, technology, and tourism. The country is one of the largest rice exporters in the world, ranking second only to Thailand. Rice production in Vietnam is not just a matter of subsistence. It is an industry that feeds millions of people around the world, as well as representing a significant portion of the country's GDP. Agriculture, however, doesn't stop there. Vietnam is also a global giant in coffee production, being the second largest exporter in the world. Vietnamese coffee, famous for its strong and distinctive flavor, is one of the most consumed beverages, both locally and abroad, and is a symbol of Vietnamese culture. Besides rice and coffee, Vietnam has other important agricultural products such as corn and black pepper, being one of the largest exporters of this spice. However, agriculture in Vietnam is no longer an isolated sector. The country has also become a manufacturing hub, especially for electronics and textiles, with several international companies setting up factories in Vietnam, attracted by lower production costs and skilled labor. The growing urbanization and increase in industrial cities indicate that the country is leaving traditional agricultural practices behind and moving towards a more industrialized future. However, while Vietnam grows in sectors such as manufacturing and technology, agriculture continues to play a fundamental role in the lives of many Vietnamese. Most of the population still depends on agriculture for their livelihood, which on one hand, helps to keep traditions alive, but on the other, presents challenges in terms of sustainable development and economic diversification. Many rural areas still face significant challenges in terms of infrastructure and access to basic services, causing a large portion of the population to continue living on modest incomes. The minimum wage in Vietnam is around $170 per month, and the large income gap between urban and rural areas is a significant issue in the current economic landscape. This low cost of living, however, has been an attraction for international companies looking to reduce their production costs. Multinational corporations, especially in the electronics and textile sectors, have established factories in Vietnam, taking advantage of cheap labor and a favorable business environment. The country has become an export hub, especially for markets like the United States, Europe, and other Asian countries. As a result, Vietnam has become a global manufacturing center, further boosting its economic growth. Tourism has also become a growing source of revenue for the country. With its rich cultural history, stunning landscapes, and unique hospitality, Vietnam attracts millions of tourists every year. Tourism significantly contributes to the country's economy, creating jobs and promoting local trade. The capital Hanoi, with its ancient temples and bustling neighborhoods, and Ho Chi Minh, with its modernity and vibrant energy, are just a few of the destinations that have attracted tourists from around the world. Additionally, Vietnam's beaches, such as those in Da Nang and Nha Trang, and the natural landscapes of Ha Long Bay, are some of the wonders that make the country an unmissable destination for those seeking a tropical paradise. But Vietnam's development is not limited to tourism and manufacturing. The country has been working to expand its service sectors, such as information technology and education. Vietnam is investing in training a new generation of skilled professionals to drive its digital transformation. The country's infrastructure has improved considerably, with growth in transportation, including airports, ports, and highways. This has facilitated trade, both domestic and international, making Vietnam a crucial link in global supply chains. Despite this impressive growth, Vietnam faces considerable challenges. Economic inequality, rapid urbanization, and environmental issues such as pollution and soil degradation are constant concerns for the government and the people. The country is also dealing with the effects of climate change, especially in coastal areas like the Mekong Delta, which is threatened by rising sea levels. Still, Vietnam continues to move forward. The nation is taking important steps to modernize its economy, but without losing sight of its roots. The combination of a young workforce, an expanding market, and a growing middle class is positioning Vietnam to continue its growth trajectory. In an era of globalization and technological transformations, Vietnam is reinventing itself, maintaining its identity and resilience, while opening up to the new opportunities of the future. Vietnam is not only a destination of history and culture, it is a paradise for nature lovers, adventurers, and food enthusiasts. At every corner, the country offers a new experience for tourists. From the imposing peaks of the mountains in the north to the stunning beaches in the south, Vietnam has something for everyone. Each region has its charm, its secrets, and its natural treasures, ready to be explored by those seeking a unique and unforgettable journey. One of the most iconic and recognized destinations in Vietnam is, without a doubt, Ha Long Bay in the north of the country. With its crystal-clear turquoise waters and thousands of limestone islands covered by lush vegetation, the bay is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the most impressive natural wonders in the world. Boat tours through the labyrinth of islands and caves, as well as the opportunity to practice water sports such as kayaking and swimming, make Ha Long Bay a must-see for any traveler. The spectacular scenery offers an experience of tranquility and beauty that is hard to find elsewhere. While northern Vietnam captivates with its natural and historical landscapes, the central part of the country offers a rich cultural heritage. Hue, for example, the former imperial capital of Vietnam, is a place where tourists can immerse themselves in centuries of history. With its well-preserved palaces, temples, and monuments, the city is a testament to the former glory of the Nguyen Empire. The Hue Monument Complex, also a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is a must-visit for those who want to understand Vietnam's deep connection to its imperial past. Hoi An, a charming coastal city, is another popular destination. Known for its cobbled streets and colorful colonial houses, Hoi An is a place where time seems to stand still. The city is famous for its delicious cuisine and the tradition of colorful lanterns that light up its streets during the Lantern Festival. There, tourists can get lost among vibrant markets, fabric shops, and restaurants serving authentic Vietnamese dishes, such as chow lau, a local specialty. Southern Vietnam is equally fascinating, with Ho Chi Minh City, formerly known as Saigon, being the pulsating center of modernity and energy. It is a vibrant city, full of life and contrasts, where glass and concrete skyscrapers coexist alongside street markets and ancient temples. One of the most notable attractions in Ho Chi Minh is the War Museum, which offers an in-depth look at the events of the Vietnam War and the impact it had on the country and its people. For many, visiting this museum is an emotional and educational experience that helps understand the resilience of the Vietnamese people. But beyond the large cities and historical monuments, Vietnam is also a country of incredible natural beauty and opportunities for those seeking adventure and a connection with nature. Sapa, in the northern mountains, offers stunning hikes through rice fields and ethnic minority villages, where you can learn about the traditions and way of life of local tribes. Additionally, the Sapa region offers a unique opportunity to interact with the locals, who maintain a simple lifestyle deeply connected to the land. The misty mountains and serene landscapes provide a perfect retreat for those who wish to escape the fast pace of the cities. Phu Quoc, a tropical island in the south, is another highlighted destination. Known for its white sand beaches and crystal-clear waters, Phu Quoc is the ideal place for those seeking to relax, snorkel, or dive, exploring the coral reefs surrounding the island. Tourism in Phu Quoc has grown rapidly, but the island still retains its tranquil and welcoming atmosphere, perfect for those who wish to spend lazy days under the sun, savoring fresh seafood. Vietnam's cuisine, one of the country's main cultural attractions, is also a unique experience for tourists. Vietnamese food is known for its freshness, balance of flavors, and healthy ingredients. The dishes vary from region to region, but some are common throughout the country. Pho, the noodle soup with meat, is the most famous dish in Vietnam and a symbol of the country's culinary culture. In the morning, you'll see the Vietnamese on the streets, enjoying a bowl of pho, with its delightful aromas of fresh herbs and rich broth. Banh Mi, the Vietnamese sandwich filled with meat, vegetables, pickles, and spicy sauce, is another dish that wins the hearts of tourists. And of course, Vietnamese coffee, with its strong and unmistakable flavor, is a drink that, for many, is essential to start the day. In addition to the flavors, Vietnam is also famous for its street food, one of the best gastronomic experiences the country has to offer. As you walk through the streets of Vietnamese cities, you encounter a plethora of stalls and street vendors offering everything from grilled meat skewers to Vietnamese pancakes and fried dumplings. Eating on the streets of Vietnam is not only a culinary experience but also a dive into the local culture, where people gather to socialize, chat, and savor fresh and delicious food. But while Vietnam is full of popular tourist attractions, it also offers a more subtle charm for those willing to venture off the beaten path. The Mekong Delta, a vast network of rivers and canals in the south of the country, offers a unique experience. Visitors can take boat rides along tranquil rivers, explore floating villages and local markets, or simply lose themselves in the serene beauty of rice fields and swamps. The Mekong Delta is undoubtedly one of the most authentic and immersive areas in Vietnam, offering tourists a true connection with the rural life and natural environment of the country. Therefore, Vietnam is much more than a tourist destination. It is a life experience. It is a country that blends its rich history, natural beauty, and vibrant culture with the energy and opportunities of modernity. With every step, Vietnam offers something new, and it is precisely this diversity that makes it an unforgettable destination for any traveler. Whether exploring its dynamic cities, venturing through its natural landscapes, or losing yourself in the flavors of its cuisine, Vietnam has the power to captivate and leave a lasting mark on the soul of those who visit. Vietnam is a country that, over the past few decades, has reinvented itself. From a nation marked by devastating wars and a difficult period of reconstruction, Vietnam has undergone an impressive transformation, both internally and in the international context. What was once one of the poorest countries in the world is now emerging as a growing economy, an innovation hub, and one of the fastest-growing economies in Asia. In the last 30 years, Vietnam has undergone a process of modernization and industrialization that few countries have achieved in such a short time. The country is an example of resilience and adaptability, capable of adjusting to global capitalism while preserving its cultural traditions. Part of this transformation is attributed to the economic reforms known as Doi Moi, implemented from 1986. These reforms allowed Vietnam to open up to the global market, promoting private sector growth, privatizing some state-owned enterprises, and encouraging foreign investment. As a result, Vietnam has become a powerhouse in manufacturing goods and exporting products such as electronics, textiles, and footwear. Vietnam's young and highly motivated workforce is one of the main drivers of this economic growth. With a young, skilled, and growing population, Vietnam is one of the most attractive destinations for companies looking to expand their operations in Southeast Asia. Large multinational companies, such as Samsung, LG, Nike, and Intel, have already established factories in the country, taking advantage of lower production costs and the growth potential of the Vietnamese economy. This dynamic business environment has placed Vietnam increasingly at the center of international investors' attention. Furthermore, Vietnam stands out as a global center for production and export. The country is currently one of the largest exporters of electronics and apparel, and it continues to expand its exports in other sectors such as processed foods, furniture, and footwear. Vietnam also benefits from regional trade agreements, such as the ASEAN Free Trade Agreement and the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership (CPTPP), which have increased trade opportunities and strengthened its position in the global market. Another important factor in Vietnam's global rise is its environmental agenda. With exponential growth, the country has faced challenges regarding sustainability and the environmental impact of its rapid industrialization. However, Vietnam is increasingly committed to implementing ecological policies and promoting a green economy. In cities like Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh, the search for sustainable alternatives for urban mobility is underway, with more investments in efficient public transport and encouragement for the use of electric vehicles. Additionally, Vietnam has heavily invested in technology and innovation. The country is positioning itself as one of the emerging hubs for tech startups in the region, especially in artificial intelligence, blockchain, and fintech. Cities like Ho Chi Minh are attracting young entrepreneurs and venture capital investors who are eager to explore the potential of the Vietnamese market. The Vietnamese government has also supported innovation and science initiatives, promoting STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education to prepare new generations for the challenges of the digital economy. One of Vietnam's most promising areas is the tourism and hospitality sector. While the country is already a reference in tourism in Southeast Asia, its potential for growth is still immense. Vietnam is becoming an increasingly popular destination for international tourists, attracted by its natural beauty, rich culture, and warm hospitality. To take advantage of this growth, the Vietnamese government has invested in tourism infrastructure, such as airports, roads, and public transport systems, as well as improving the quality of hospitality services and offering diverse tour packages. With the COVID-19 pandemic, Vietnam demonstrated resilience in facing crises. Its quick and effective response to controlling the virus and implementing public health measures was widely recognized internationally. This further strengthened the country's image as a nation that, despite its challenges, is capable of adapting and emerging stronger in times of adversity. In terms of global projection, Vietnam has an increasing role in international diplomacy. The country has actively engaged in multilateral organizations such as ASEAN, the United Nations, UN, and the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation (APEC) Forum, and is increasingly seeking to influence global issues, from security to climate change. Vietnam is seen as an emerging power in Southeast Asia, playing a key role in the region's geopolitical balance. Internally, Vietnam is focused on improving the quality of life for its citizens and reducing regional inequalities. Rural areas still face significant challenges, but the country has invested in infrastructure, healthcare, and education programs to ensure that growth benefits the entire population. Education in Vietnam has proven to be an important pillar for the future, with an educational system that places great emphasis on developing technical and creative skills to prepare young people for the challenges of a constantly changing world. Vietnam has also stood out for its strong nationalist sentiment and the value placed on its cultural identity. The preservation of its traditions, languages, dances, and cultural festivals is a priority, while the country seeks to embrace globalization and modernity. This combination of respect for history and the future creates a unique society, where younger generations are deeply connected to the legacy of their ancestors while looking to the future with ambition and optimism. Vietnam's future looks promising, and the country is clearly on a path of sustainable growth, innovation, and strengthening its presence on the global stage. With its rising economy, sustainable development initiatives, and growing diplomatic influence, Vietnam is positioning itself as one of Asia's emerging powers, ready to play an even more significant role on the global stage in the coming years. Vietnam is a country that impresses not only with its stunning landscapes and rich history, but also with its vibrant and diverse culture. With a population of approximately 97 million people, Vietnam is a place where tradition and modernity coexist in a unique way. Its cultural influences reflect its long and complex history of interactions with various civilizations and powers, such as China, France, and the United States. But what is most remarkable is how the country preserves and celebrates its authentic roots. Vietnamese culture is deeply rooted in family values, which are fundamental to the country's social structure. The family is seen as the foundation of society, and many aspects of daily life, including education, work, and even the way of socializing, are influenced by this family system. The relationships between older and younger generations are highly respectful, with a strong sense of duty and reverence towards the elderly. This respect for previous generations is part of a life philosophy that emphasizes harmony, collectivity, and strengthening family ties. This emphasis on family and collectivity is reflected in the way people live. In many Vietnamese households, especially in rural areas, older and younger generations live under the same roof. After marriage or completing studies, many Vietnamese still prefer to live with their parents. This collective lifestyle is not seen as a limitation, but as a way of caring for each other, especially in terms of emotional and financial support. Family unity is viewed as the foundation of a stable and prosperous society. Another important characteristic of Vietnamese culture is reverence for nature. The country is known for its beautiful landscape, ranging from the lush mountains of the north to the plains of the Mekong Delta in the south. For the Vietnamese people, nature is not only a source of beauty but also a sacred space that must be protected. The influence of religions such as Buddhism and Taoism reflects the deep connection between the Vietnamese people and the natural environment. This is evident in their daily practices, such as worshipping local deities and ancestors in temples and altars, as well as the tradition of making offerings and ceremonies to thank the land and natural elements for their blessings. Religion plays a significant role in the spiritual life of the Vietnamese, although Vietnam is a nation with considerable religious diversity. The majority of the population follows Buddhism, although there are also Catholic and Protestant communities in the country. Vietnamese Buddhism is known for its focus on the pursuit of inner peace and balance with the external world. In addition to Buddhism, Confucianism also has a great influence, especially in relation to values of respect, education, and hierarchy in society. One of Vietnam's most important traditions is Tết Nguyên Đán, or the Vietnamese Lunar New Year, which is the largest and most significant celebration in the country. Tết is the Vietnamese equivalent of the Chinese New Year, but with some unique Vietnamese characteristics. During Tết, families gather to celebrate the arrival of the new year with large meals, gifts, and especially reverence for their ancestors. The streets fill with flowers, lanterns, and colorful markets, while people pay tribute to their deceased family members and pray for a prosperous and healthy year. The celebration is also an opportunity for the Vietnamese to strengthen family and social bonds, as many travel back to their hometowns to celebrate together. In addition to Tết, Vietnam also celebrates a number of traditional festivals that reflect the diversity of its culture and the various influences the country has received throughout its history. The Full Moon Festival, for example, is a popular celebration that takes place in many places, especially in coastal cities like Hoi An. During the event, people celebrate with colorful lanterns, dances, and fireworks, and gather to eat specialties such as rice cakes and fruits. Each region of Vietnam has its own unique celebrations, but all share a common sense of community and unity. Vietnamese cuisine is one of the richest and most diverse in the world. Its dishes are known for their freshness, balance of flavors, and use of local ingredients. Street food is one of the biggest attractions for tourists and locals alike. On every corner you can find food stalls serving everything from a famous pho, a noodle soup with meat and fresh herbs, to simpler dishes like Banh Mi, a sandwich with meat, vegetables, and sauce, Goi Cuon, fresh spring rolls, and Bun Cha noodles with grilled pork. Vietnamese food is so important to local culture that Vietnamese coffee has become an essential part of everyday life. The coffee is often served with condensed milk, called sa phi sua de, and is consumed throughout the day, in busy places like street cafes or markets. Vietnamese coffee has a rich history, with Vietnam being the second largest coffee producer in the world, after Brazil. The cultivation and consumption of coffee are an integral part of social life in Vietnam. Vietnamese craftsmanship is also a reflection of the deep connection between people and their culture. Each region of Vietnam has its own craft traditions, including embroidery, ceramics, textiles, and wood carving. Vietnamese craftsmanship is known for its beauty and intricate details, and many of these products are handmade, with techniques passed down from generation to generation. The handicraft market in Vietnam is constantly growing, with tourists from all over the world purchasing handmade items as souvenirs or gifts. Music and dance also play a vital role in Vietnamese culture. Traditional Vietnamese music varies from region to region, but all forms of music are deeply linked to nature, daily life, and religion. For example, Ca Tru is a traditional form of singing that dates back to the feudal era and is considered one of the most complex forms of music in the country. Traditional dances, such as the fan dance and mask dance, are also performed at festivals and cultural events, celebrating the history and beliefs of the Vietnamese people. Furthermore, Vietnam has a rich heritage in literature and philosophy, influenced by ancient texts from Confucius, as well as the oral tradition of stories passed down through generations. Vietnamese literature often centers on themes like family, honor, homeland, and love for the land. Many Vietnamese writers have used their words as a way to express their struggles, hopes, and experiences throughout the country's tumultuous history. Ultimately, Vietnam's culture is a reflection of its historical journey, the struggle for survival, and the pride in keeping its traditions alive. Even amidst rapid modernization, Vietnam remains deeply connected to its cultural roots, creating a society that is both globalized and deeply rooted in its local traditions. When visiting Vietnam, you not only explore a country of natural beauty and historical wealth, but also a people who maintain their identity and values with unwavering passion.